Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, out on another walk. And this time, I'm back in Binsted, in West Sussex, just south of Arundel. And I'm here again. I've made a couple of previous videos at Binsted, so if you haven't seen those, do check them out. But I'm here at Binsted Park, and to guide me, to take me around, I have the very lovely Emma Tristram. Hello, Emma.
Hello.
Thank you for agreeing to take me around the park. This is a beautiful, well, we're actually in April, which is hard to believe with the heat of the sun, but it's wonderful. So shall we have a little stroll and you can tell me a bit about the park and, its wonderful history?
Binsted Park was created by the owners of Binsted House, which was over there. It's been replaced by a modern house, but it was perhaps built in about 1600. And at some point, they decided they wanted to go up in the world socially.
Oh, right, like you do.
A park.
Fantastic.
So they created this sort of curving field into a park, and they did certain things. They removed a road from the front of their house. They removed some woodland, leaving big old oak trees so it would look like a medieval deer park. And if you look over there, you can see the last remaining really big one that's alive. That's down at the end.
So this wasn't a deer park then?
No.
It
was an amenity park. It was a beautification park. And along with creating the park with its big trees, they created a series of 3 ponds, a ha-ha, a lover's walk, which we're going to walk along, and it was lovely. And this area of woodland over there was part of it. It didn't have as many trees on then. It was big beech trees, and they made it into part of their park.
Fantastic. Now, we're just passing a remarkable ancient tree. Well,
yes,
pretty old tree,
pretty old.
An oak tree here with quite a wide girth, isn't it? And you were telling me before we started filming that it's most likely a pollard tree. And what was the reason that you would pollard a tree like this in its position?
This may go back to before the creation of Binsted Park. It's thought to have been made in about 1800. Quite late in the creation of pocket parks, as they're known. And so this tree may date back to before that,
right?
If it's 300 years old, which it might be. And the reason to pollard a tree was to stop the animals eating the new growth. So if you find pollards like this, where it's been cut at head height, and the tree has grown out several trunks from that point,
yes,
it means somewhere not in a woodland, but where there are animals, such as a common or a deer park.
Yes, yeah. Well, it is a magnificent one that's yet to spring into leaf, but it won't be long.
No,
it won't be long.
Exactly.
Shall we continue?
Oh, let's.
So, Emma, we've moved on a little bit, and we're now coming into the woodlands.
Yes.
So, this is a rather interesting path. I'll let you go first, actually. So this, I understand, is Lover's Walk, is that right?
In the days when Binsted Park was kept up by the Reed family, when they first made it in the 19th century, they made it into Lover's Walk, and they had a little wooden bridge over the stream we're going to get to.
Oh, how lovely.
And photographs of themselves in it. You know, they were very proud of it. It's since become an important footpath. It goes all the way from, the footpath goes all the way from Binsted Church to Arundel.
Oh, does it really?
Footpath 372.
Oh, gosh.
And this section of it goes through the bottom, the southern part of Binsted Woods, which are huge.
Wow.
I like to say 250 acres, but people prefer 100 hectares these
yes,
days.
I can't work out what hectares are myself.
It doesn't sound like as much, but they are very big.
Right.
And this part of them is the southernmost part. There are outlying bits which we've walked through, and the whole of Binsted Woods forms a sort of shape like a crab with 2 claws, and each claw holds one end of the village.
Oh, I see.
So the village is sort of partly in the woods, and so it feels very much part of the place, Binsted as a place, these enormous woods. And they're like this. They're not managed, they're full of trees that have fallen down and just been left, which are wonderful for wildlife. They're full of trees that have fallen down and regrown.
So, are they? Is this an ancient woodland? Has it always been woodland?
This, in the definition of ancient woodland, it's mostly what's called ancient woodland. In other words, woodland since 1600. Some parts of it have had a period when they have been not woodland since 1600, and that's been mapped, so they aren't designated, but they're equally wonderful.
Yes.
So it's a bit anomalous. This ancient woodland thing, it's wonderful for the woodland it protects, but it leads people to think everything else is rubbish.
Ah, I see, yes.
Which of course isn't true. So,
but there's a big diversity of different species here, isn't there?
yes, there is. It's Mike says it's like a Noah's Ark for wildlife. This whole area, actually, not just Binsted Woods, but Dortington Common that way. For instance, we've now discovered 14 species of bat here.
Wow.
In both sections of the woods, and there are only 17 species in the whole UK.
Gosh.
So
you've got a large proportion of them.
It's fantastic.
So is this the little bridge that we're coming up to now?
Yes, it is. So Lovers Walk, when it was a walk through a park, wouldn't have looked like this with lots of fallen trees. They probably would have made it tidy. And they had a little wooden balustrade either side of the bridge here.
That we're crossing now,
yes.
Oh, how lovely.
And this actually is the northernmost of the 3 ponds that they made. It was, and then there's the Madonna Pond further down, which we'll get to, and another one that's now dry.
So 3 ponds here in this sort of valley, because we're now
ponds.
We've
Yes,
come
we're in
down
a little river valley,
and we're now going back up again.
Right.
It is. I mean, it's absolutely stunning woodland now, and
It is.
We've got beautiful weather, of course, and it's not full foliage, so that makes it particularly interesting to be able to see much of the floor of the wood as well, and to see all the trees as in their natural environment.
Yes, it's great walking here in the winter and being able to see so far.
Yes.
And you find all the time trees you hadn't known about. And sort of new earth banks that you have to try and interpret. And I can show you in a minute the earth bank that was the boundary marker of the end of Binsted Parish. We haven't quite got to it yet.
And how long does that date back to?
Well, when did parishes begin? Certainly before the conquest.
Right. So back
I don't know how old the bank itself is, but it might have been remade.
Yes.
At a certain point, and it has some rather lovely old big beech trees on it, possibly planted to mark it out. You can see it from here if you know what you're looking for.
Aha.
I'll just take you onto the lane and we'll get a better look at it.
So we're not quite
here.
Yes.
And actually it continues the other side of the lane.
Oh, I see.
It goes north for about a mile through the woods and up to the A27.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just going to move. Sorry, I'm just going to move this way to try and get some view of the bank, because we're one side of it now. And actually,
we've moved out of Binsted.
Oh, right.
We've crossed the boundary.
We've crossed the boundary. We're now foreigners, aren't we?
We're now in Tortington.
We're aliens.
I'm going to say one more thing about the bank.
Yes.
I have led a walk along it, and the fascinating thing is the difference between the woodland on the Binsted side and the woodland on the Tortington side. You notice soon enough that on the Tortington side there are lots of conifers, because they were planted in the 1970s. There are none on the Binsted side.
Right. Oh,
so there are two quite different
yes. And the
habitats.
bank is there too.
The bank shows where they change from one to the other.
Yes.
The conifers side is regenerating, but you notice there's much less ground flora, because the pine needles come down and they make a thick layer which is acid, and the usual plants
can't survive.
Go dormant.
Yes.
They can survive. They can come back if the pines are selectively removed.
Right.
And that's gradually happening. So
just through here, we've arrived at the Madonna Pond, and I'm going to ask Emma actually why it's called the Madonna Pond. Emma, why Madonna?
Well, I have to tell you, some people don't like the name. They would prefer it to be called Binsted Pond, which is what it was called before it became the Madonna Pond. But it has a lot of sort of mystery, legends and lore attached to it, and the name Madonna Pond has stuck. And over there we can see the reason. We can see the little shrine put up by Lorna Wishart in about 1952 in memory of her mother. And of course it isn't the original shrine. She put a rather nice statue, I think, carved by herself. She was an artist as well as the mother of artists. And that was removed because it got vandalised, and cheaper, less vandalisable statues followed, and now we have this present one, which I think is made of plaster or something.
Yes.
So there is a certain feeling of devotion that you get from it.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, if you're Catholic and you see a statue of Madonna, it's bound to bring out the that religious feeling in you. And,
Yes.
and what a place of peace, of course, this is, especially at this time when you've got spring, the start of a new birth, and that sort of thing happening. Just going to go down to the water's edge, just to get a nice view of the pond. I'll try not to fall in, which is always good. Surrounded by beautiful trees, and we've got the sound of running water in the distance there.
That's the water going through that little waterfall under the road. It's called a sluice, isn't it? Into the dry pond, which has the stream running through it, and it joins the Arun eventually.
So is this spring fed, or it's just runoff from?
It's runoff from the downs.
From the
That's
downs.
what all these little rivers in Binsted Woods are.
Right.
Sometimes they run underground for a while because
then
the water
pop
has
up.
gone through the chalk, and then they come down through the woods and make these little river valleys.
Well, it's absolutely fascinating. Thank you so much for taking me through Binsted Park. It's so nice to have an authoritative person to show me around,
Oh, I
which
wouldn't
is
say that.
well more than me just turning up and saying, "Oh, we're in a wood."
Yeah.
But we're going to do more at Binsted, so do keep an eye out for the videos. They will be coming because it's a fascinating place. It's steeped in lots of history, lots of natural history in particular, and of course there is we haven't said anything about it, but there is the threat of a road coming through, and we'll talk about that another time. So it's great to just put Binsted on the map, really.
Yeah.
So Emma, thank you very much. I've enjoyed it immensely,
Good.
and we'll be doing more in the future. So
Thank you.
thanks for watching, and join me again next time. Bye for now.